Hey guys, welcome back. I've got the outside here all finished. I did the outside walls and I did the inside with the same techniques. And I've noticed a couple of issues. One, when this stuff dried, up here around the edges is really rough and didn't fill in quite as much as I'd like. It's not quite as smooth up there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up another batch of goop that's significantly thinner to go over these areas and in the windows and stuff, and kind of smooth them out and finish filling them in, because this foam actually sucked up some of the, well, I don't think the foam sucked it up. I think what happened was when this dried, it kind of shrank a little bit, and so it shrank back down into the recesses, so it didn't quite fill up as much as I hoped. So I'm just gonna do a thinner layer of goop, the same color, and just paint over the upper edges where the foam edges are, to kind of smooth that out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that done, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've fixed most of this up. What I did is I made a kind of a half goop. I just used the paint, the water, and the plaster. I left the glue out because the glue is actually going to add a little bit to the shrinkage, and I've already got a protective layer on here, so I just needed to kind of fill things out. I made this goop quite a bit less viscous than the last set, so it's about half as thick, and I actually painted it on to fill things in, let it dry a little bit, didn't have to be completely dry, and then painted another layer on just on the edges in the windows and around here, just to kind of smooth things out there a little bit. So that's done, and it's still drying a little bit, but in the meantime we're going to press on to some of the washing. So I've got two washes I'm going to have to do, one on the rock areas, and then we're going to have to wash the main walls, the plaster. So one other thing I wanted to mention, I made a serious boo-boo here. I completely forgot that I was going to plan to make this area playable. The problem I have is there's no egress to that area. I meant to cut a door here before I finish this. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to cut a door through here. It's just going to be too much of a pain at this point. I'm going to go ahead and finish the inside. I'm going to make the roof removable, because just for a display piece that would be nice. And what we can do later, if we decide that we want to make this playable and we don't want to add house rules for, hey, they just come in here and up the stairs and let's pretend, we can actually put a surround here and just put a permanently closed balsa wood door in there and use that for egress. So that's where we're gonna go. So if you're building something like this, make sure you think about ways to get in and out of your playable areas. It completely went by me. So anyway, on to the fun stuff. I'm just gonna mix up, the first thing I'm gonna do with the rocks is a dark gray wash, to kind of get the shadow in there. So I am just gonna this a bit. I don't need a whole lot, so I'm just gonna put some gray paint in there. That's probably too much. Get a good bit of water. We want this pretty thin. Some more paint in here. I'm probably gonna end up wasting some paint, but we had a big sale here in Florida yesterday. It was tax-free day and it was teacher appreciation day. My wife homeschools, so she gets the teacher discounts, and they had this paint 2 for $1, so I actually went and stocked up on a little bit of this yesterday, which was really nice. Okay, so I'm just going to put the washes on the bricks. Now I'm going to try to be careful and not get this on the plaster. At this point we don't want to be goofing that up. So I'm going to use a pretty small brush and be pretty careful about this. Touching this up here. So you see it's not that big a deal. I just threw some paint in there. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of the areas and then I'll be back. Alright, so I got that wash done. Just those two areas, this little one down here, and this one by the window. So those are still drying. They're gonna dry really fast because it's real thin paint. I'm gonna go ahead and mix up the wash for the plaster. Now what I'm using, remember we did the plaster itself is Apple Barrel Country Tan is what I used. Now I'm using this Craft Smart Golden Brown for the wash. It's going to be fairly dark here. It's pretty, so you may actually be able to see that better here. It's a fairly reddish type brown. And that's what I want, kind of a reddish tinge to it. So that's the color we're going to be using. Alright, and again, we want this really thin. I mean, it's pretty much dirty water here. So we want this, we want actually a lot of the underneath color showing through. So this is a lot more paint than, or a lot more water than paint in this mixture. So just make it really thin. Then, I mean, it's pretty simple. Just paint it on. I'm using a big brush so it doesn't take forever, but just get it on there. When you get around to the portions with the rock, be a little careful and try not to mix them. I mean, you can always touch it up if you slop a little bit, it's no big deal, but just do your best to keep it off of there, and then you won't have as much cleanup work later. So anyway, I'm going to keep on with this, and we'll be back later for some dry brushing and highlighting. Alright guys, so I've gotten this all washed down. Don't forget when you're washing to wash the insides of the windows, the inside of the door here, and just take a look around and make sure you didn't miss any areas. Now this isn't completely dry. When it dries, it's going to be a bit lighter than this. Also, you'll notice even when it does dry, it's actually going to be kind of blotchy. I mean, you can see there that there's some blotchiness to it, different color variations. That's a good thing. That's what we want. That's what I was after. So don't freak out if you see blotchiness. It's gonna look really nice. So just let that be. Don't go thinking that you missed stuff and paint back over it and try to make it even and all that. Just let it go. So when we come back next time, we're going to do some dry brushing on the plaster with this Satin Cream by Apple Barrel. Very, very light dry brushing. And then we're going to finish highlighting the rock areas. Then we should be done with most of this external structure. We'll start getting into more details then. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care.